So, hello everyone, for once I'm actually recording a video while it's still bright outside. Amazing. Now, Asuka and Oriko are getting their Uncap on the North American server, so I thought, hey, someone told me in the comments to make a video about how good they are, so I'm gonna do just that. So we're gonna start out with evaluating how good Asuka's Uncap actually is, and yeah, because she's just the more simple of the two characters in more ways than one. And starting out, we're just gonna take a look at the simple stats that she will have at 5 stars. And starting out, we'll see that she has pretty decent HP, she has not that great attack and pretty good defense as well, so we see that she is basically a more balanced type character with a little bit more on the defense side. She's also a water type blast gorilla, and if we look at all of this, we think to ourselves, wait a second, balanced type water blast gorilla with slightly more defense, isn't that just the same as Tercio? And yes, we see decent HP, not that great attack, and a bit more defense. Balanced type blast gorilla water, pretty much the same character. Now, if you might have already paid attention, you might have noticed that Asuka actually has slightly better stats in all of HP, attack, and defense. She has a little bit more of all of these stats at 5 star, which is pretty amazing. You might think to yourself, oh my god, that means Asuka is better than Tercio, right? She even has 3 vertical blasts, which is just a little tiny bit better than having 3 vertical blasts. Did I say vertical, horizontal? Yes, 3 vertical blasts, which are better than 3 horizontal blasts, just a little tiny bit. So she's a better Tercio, right? We should all use Asuka, is what I would say if her connect wasn't absolute garbage. Her connect is she gives the target she's connecting with provoke and 70% damage cut. 70% damage cut is of course pretty alright, but you're giving them provoke. If you use this on someone who is very squishy, and they're fighting against an enemy who has a lot of damage modifiers. If you watch my other videos on how to counter enemy stats and buffs, you will know that if an enemy has a lot of damage modifiers like damage up, or blast up, or damage increase, or any sort of damage modifier that isn't just attack up, like anything that isn't attack up is usually just a damage modifier, they will make damage cut a lot worse. So if we have, for example, your opponent has like a 60% blast up and you give someone 70% damage cut, what will happen is it will take 60% damage modifier that you get from the blast up, subtract 70%, which means you drop to minus 10%. And if you're using this on someone who's squishy and they take minus 10% of base damage, they're still gonna be absolutely dead. So this is a connect that not only fails completely at protecting someone who is fighting against enemies with good modifiers like high blast ups, it's just going to kill them. It just doesn't protect them, it actually just outright kills them. And having a connect that does nothing but potentially kill squishy characters is absolutely god-awful. Especially because this is one of the very few connects in the entire game that doesn't actually give any offensive boosts. Even other defensive connects still give some sort of offensive ability, but this gives nothing. It's literally just for defensive ability, and even so, it can fail sometimes against certain targets. So that's already pretty goddamn awful. But on top of that, you also notice that, wait a second, why would I want to survive another turn if instead I could just get a really good offensive connect like this one, which gives 80% blast up and 70% chance to crit, and just kill my opponents? You don't need to survive another turn if you can just kill your opponents. So mostly just because of her connect, Asuka is she has her uses sometimes if you really do want to play a highly defensive setup with with like multiple defensive tanks, then she can be really good. But apart from that, for like a general purpose team, she's not gonna be very great, mostly because her connect is absolutely pointless in most cases. And then you think to yourself, at least she has more attack. Yeah, that's true, but at some point Nanaka is gonna get an uncap, and once Nanaka gets an uncap, she's going to be the best water type in the game, almost. Like, even if you include natural 4 stars, she's gonna be one of the best water types in the entire game. She also has a similar stat spread to the other 2 characters, because she's also balance blast gorilla. For some reason, all the easy to get water types are balanced type blast gorillas that are really good. Sorry, fire. Fire is terrible in mirrors for the most part, is because there's so many good water types. That sucks. But anyway, She has similar stat spread, but she's focused a little bit more on attack, so already she's better than the other two on stats, because attack is pretty much always better. But she also has probably the best connect out of all three of these. So out of Asuka, Yachio, and Nanaka, Asuka, Yachio, Nanaka. Nanaka also has the best connect with 75% blast damage up, but more importantly, it's 37.5% attack up and some remove buffs. Who cares about that? So yeah, if you're wondering about who to pick out of these, usually you would just pair Yachio with Nanaka, because they just have the best connects and they're all blast gorillas. And Asuka is looking really, really sad. Really, really sad. I'm not gonna make a joke about Asuka's stick here. So, because she just, even though she has good stats, she just has a terrible connect, and that's basically the end of that story. In PvE, she's also not that great, because once again in PvE, having a highly defensive connect can be good sometimes, but most of the time, just kill the enemy. It's just that simple. Moving on though, now that we've talked about Asuka, let's move on to Oriko. Oriko is another balance type character, or actually she's Magia type, but her stats are more balance oriented as well. However, she does actually have a lot more attack than defense, so she's actually not that balanced at all. The growth type is kind of not right. What does this mean for Oriko in Mirrors? So when you think about Oriko in Mirrors, you see a character like this and you think to yourself, how can I make use of this character? I can just use her as a light type attacker. But then you look at her kit a little more closely and you realize something. You look at her kit more closely. Her Magia Oracle Ray deals AoE damage and gives herself evade. What other character do we know that has a Magia that deals damage to all enemies and gives self-evade? Tsuruno. As it turns out, a lot of people like, I don't know how many people, but there are quite a few people who like running Solo Tsuruno, because Solo Tsuruno allows you to hopefully get a Magia off on turn 2, which damages all enemies for actually the same damage as Oriko, and also it gives you a chance to evade. Now, Oriko's Magia gives MP Restore Self 30. Not that great, you're probably not going to get a second Magia off anyway, but still alright. While on Tsuruno's side we get Excel MP up, which is it's quite alright. But more importantly, we get blast damage up, so on a full team, Tsuruno's Magia is better than Oriko, but we're not worrying about a full team. We're just worrying about the solo mirror strat. So let's look at the stats of these two actually, because I haven't done that yet. So if you run Solo Tsuruno in Mirrors, the idea is the following. You take the Memoria that gives you 10% MP on start of the battle, and actually 10% of your full Magia bar, meaning that if you have Doppel unlocked, or just Magia level 5, and you go all the way up to 200 Magia total, that 10% will actually not give you 10, but 20, because it's 10% of your maximum, which becomes 200. So you start off with 20 MP, you try to get to 100 MP on the first turn, which does mean though you need to survive the first turn. Now since we need to survive the first turn in order for this strat to be good, we need to worry about something, which is of course surviving the first turn. And more precisely though, we need two things. We need good defensive stats on one hand, and we need to make sure our enemies aren't going to be able to deal that much damage through other means as well. Which means, first off, we look at the defensive stats. We have 18.9 thousand HP, 6,000 defense, and here we have more HP and we have more defense. So we have more defense, we have more HP, attack is almost the same. So we see already on stats, Oriko is going to have a significantly better time of staying alive against enemies compared to Tsuruno. Now, what about the second part? If you played Tsuruno in Mirrors as Solo Tsuruno, you might notice that, of course, she's fire type, so as we've noticed before, wait a second, water types are pretty good in Mirrors because it's very easy to get really, really good water types that are blast gorillas with decent stats in Mirrors, meaning that you're going to run into a lot of water teams, and if you run into a lot of water teams, Tsuruno is not going to be very good, because even if you try to make her as defensive as possible stat-wise, she's just going to get mowed down by water types, which kind of sucks. However, Oriko doesn't quite have the same problem, because, of course, she's also weak to dark, while Tsuruno's weak to water, so you need to watch out for enemy dark types. However, the enemy doesn't have access to very easy, almost welfare kind of 4-slotted blast gorillas that are dark type, like how easy it is for water. Like everyone has really easy access to 4-slot water blast gorilla, but you don't have easy access to 4-slot blast gorillas that are dark. So on that front, if you're playing mostly against free-to-play teams, you're not going to run into that many powerful dark enemies. However, of course, there are some really good meta dark enemies, especially on NA. So on NA, I have to tell you, Ashley exists. So this actually becomes a bit worse. Also, Homura already exists. I think on the Japanese server it still took like over half a year after Oriko Uncap for Kulmura to appear. So on NA specifically, there are actually more powerful dark enemies on the limited side. Like there are more limited dark characters that are extremely powerful at mowing down a solo Oriko, which sadly is a bit sad. On JP, on release of Oriko, this Oriko 5-star, this was a bit nicer. But even so, if you can avoid the enemy 4-slot Ashley or the enemy 4-slot Kulmura, which, like I said, is going to happen less often than running into a 4-slot Yachio, which is on pretty much every single team, you're going to have an easier time surviving on that front as well with Oriko. So in general, Oriko is going to be a better solo character for mirrors compared to Tsuruno, because A, you have better defensive stats in order to actually survive the first turn, and 2, you don't have to worry too much about the enemy having easy access to easy counters that almost every single enemy team is going to run. So on that front, Oriko is mostly used as the solo mirrors character, and Tsuruno is going to be very sad that she's no longer the 100% solo character, but she's now the 50-point mirrors character. I'm sorry about that, Tsuruno. Moving on from mirrors though, about PvE. PvE is a lot more straightforward. She's got good attack, and since she's only a 3-star, it's easier to get slots of her than for like 4-star characters, of course. So if you don't have any good light type character and you want to dish out some damage, you can look ahead to do some Oriko shenanigans. She's pretty good at dealing some damage. Her discs sadly aren't that great. She has 2 Axel and 2 Charge, and we know that Charge is terrible. But if you play Oriko in PvE, you're usually just not trying to just deal damage with her discs. Instead, you're going to play Oriko as a Magia type character. So if you play Oriko as a Magia type character in PvE, what are you going to do? Of course, you're going to charge your MP, you're going to use your Magia, but we want to not just use one Magia, we want to use a lot of Magia, or we want to use a Doppel and then even some Magia afterwards. We want to worry about Axel MP gain, and we want to worry about MP restore, and Oriko gives you both. On her connect gives you Axel MP gain up for whoever she connects to, and her Magia gives herself 30 MP restore. And this is not percent of maximum, so this doesn't give you 60 if you have 200. It gives you 30. Her Doppel gives herself 39%. I don't know, it gives 39, not 40. Just make it 40, dude. And the damage goes up by quite a lot. So her Doppel doesn't have any other amazing effect on it. It's just a better version of a Magia. I know some Doppels do actually do some crazy stuff, but this one is just better. Now, if you think about having a team that is then focused completely on Magia, and you want to make a good use of the MP gain up from the connect, and you want to spam out multiple Magia, which character do we know who's known for spamming out Magia, especially in teams with other people? The most unlikely duo that you can possibly imagine. You could not have a less likely duo in the entirety of Madoka Magica, because the best partner for Oriko is Madoka. It makes no sense lore-wise, but it's actually her best partner in PvE. First off, Madoka is actually has similar stats to Oriko, but flipped on attack and defense. So Oriko has terrible attack, while Oriko has great attack, while Madoka has terrible attack, but Oriko has terrible defense, while Madoka has great defense. So Madoka is going to be way better at surviving. Of course, Madoka is way better at surviving. We know that from the lore as well. But similarly, she also has a connect that helps partners generate MP, and she also has a Magia that gives herself and others as well a lot of more MP, while her Doppel is a better version of this. Meaning that if you just take Oriko and Madoka as the unlikely duo, they're similarly to double Madoka are going to give each other a lot of MP and then spam Magias all over the place, also giving you some defensive options, because of course the Magia of Madoka gives a damage cut to everyone, and the Magia of Oriko gives only herself sadly, evade. So yeah, if you are tired of double Madoka, or maybe you don't even have a Madoka and you can't do double Madoka, maybe you just make your own Oriko level up, and then take a support Madoka, and instead of doing double Madoka, you do Oriko Madoka. And then at the end of the story, Oriko comes up with a knife and knifes Madoka to end the story. And that's basically the resolution of this entire video on Asuka and Oriko. So to recap, Asuka has okay stats, but a terrible connect that gets completely overshadowed by Yachio and especially Nanaka, who's just way better. While Oriko is pretty decent, she's pretty alright in a Magia team, especially because she has multiple tools to generate Magia, has an interesting duo dynamic with Madoka, and also is a better solo mirrors option than Tsuruno. That said, because she is so squishy, if you play against any opponent that actually gets multiple attacks off against Oriko, she's just going to die instantly. So yeah, that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time, especially once you hit that subscribe button. Bye!